Welcome, I'm Richie Hecker and this is the Cryptocurrency Masterclass. Today's class we're going to talk about how a ICO works. By going through a fictitious example of launching a new coin, you'll learn what are the stages, what's the process, and what makes a successful offering. Now just keep in mind, an ICO has many different terms today. Initial coin offering, ICO, token sale, token fundraiser, token generation event. They all essentially mean the same thing, which is issuing a new coin in the market. So we're going to look at the different stages. The first thing is understand what your token is going to do. So you want to do new coin. What is the purpose? Does it need to exist? What problem does it solve? Be really clear. How many tokens are being issued? How are tokens created or mined? Are they pre-mined? Means you're issuing up to 1 million of them. Or do you have to do some kind of processing, such as Bitcoin, to mine a token? What's the utility? Why do people want your tokens? What are they going to be used for in the real world? Or is it a security? What does it entitle people to in terms of profit participation or potential appreciation of value as an investment? You need to understand that before doing anything else. Be really clear, be able to explain to anyone in what I call the grandma test, which means you should be able to explain something simple enough that your grandmother, who likely loves you but may not understand what you do if you work in the tech industry, can understand what it is in 2 minutes or less. Now, that's the first step. Understand the purpose of your token. Why does it exist? How is it mined? How is it mined again in the future? Can you issue more? Or is it a maximum size for the entire offering? What's the utility? What does it entitle people to? Write that down. Write up a couple of pages of the reasons your token needs to exist. Once you have that, then you're ready to really get started. So let's go. Next step. Most important thing in a token economy, in an ICO, is your team. Why? Well, you're pre-selling a product that does not have product market fit yet. A token offering by design is being launched before the token economy is live, usually. If it is a utility coin. If it's a security coin, you want to understand is how much can you trust the issuer of that security. Bitcoin itself is a trustless environment. Because it's through the blockchain, you don't need trust for Bitcoin to work. However, for a new coin to work, they are primarily issued on the basis of trust. People are buying coins because of the trust in the team. Most token buyers or coin buyers or donors want to see that the team has had experience or has deep connections and inroads in the cryptocurrency space, that they have real chops in technology, that they understand distribution and how to make the economy itself work, that they have really strong engineering talent that could actually build the technology to underlie the token economy, have the right team in place, have the right advisors, have the right board members, have the right initial investors, have people that know what they're doing and are trusted nodes themselves be part of your team. It's like raising venture capital. You go into a venture capitalist office, you come in and they want to know first, who's your team? Why are you the right team to achieve this thing you're trying to achieve? It's the same thing here, except it's even more important here. Because these offerings are primarily pre-product market fit, the team matters more than anything else in the eyes of most of the economy, most of the buyers. If you can't answer why are you the right team for this, you probably want to go back to recruiting. So for NewCoin, we're going to bring in one of the founders of last year's coin, quote unquote, which was a $100 million ICO, really successful. There's already a functioning token economy on last year's coin. So that's one of our founding team members. So we have street cred, social proof going in. Our engineer for our new coin previously was the engineer for last year's coin. Lots of social proof. We have 3 advisors who all help collectively on 27 different ICOs or tokens in the last 3 years and have raised a total of $195 million. Now I'm making all this stuff up. I'm just giving you an example of what a team and mechanics could look like for NewCoin. That's what the market wants to see. They want to see you have the right connections that they can trust you, that you know how to do this and you've done it before. or you're partnered with people who have done it before, or people who have done it before are invested in you. That's what everyone wants to know, at least in my view and what I've seen in the market. Once the team's in place and you have a team that people can trust, next is materials. They're your business plan. But business plans in the form of an ICO or a token fundraising event are different. You have a white paper. That is a very long, usually 20 to 50 page business plan that covers your token economy, how and why it works. Your team, your security, your marketing, everything to do with how you're going to build and launch your token and why people need to use it and covered in this white paper. It's like a very long business plan. You typically have a PowerPoint deck. You typically have a website and an explainer video, like one of those like docu-style videos that explains what you're doing. Those are the materials that you need to create an offering. They take a really long time. That white paper can be 100 or 200 hours of work for multiple team members. PowerPoint deck is like an investor venture capital pitch. A website makes sure that you exist. And then the other thing is you also need social media, because token sales happen on social media. You need to have a Reddit account. You need to be on Reddit, Bitcoin Talk, potentially Telegram, WhatsApp, and Slack, all creating and curating communities. Before you launch your public sale, you should have hundreds, if not thousands of people participating in your social media communities around you. Make sure that you have community support for your product or your token. Next, that's the materials. How do you know you have good materials? Read the ones that already exist. Look at the last 5 offerings that were successful for the same size of sale that you want to do in the last 30 days. Read their white papers. Understand the mechanics. Model it after a combination of those last 5 deals. That's what you need to do. The actual specifics of what goes into a white paper, just read them and find out. For today's session, we're really talking about the infrastructure you need to pull one of these off and do a very good job and make it really cool. Next, you need security. You need to know that where you're going to receive your Bitcoin, what form of currency are you going to accept, and how are you going to give it out? There's a lot of hacking that happens in these coin offerings where people are trying to steal your tokens and play all sorts of shenanigans and games. You need to have a really good security plan for how you're going to protect yourself and your receiving and protect your token buyers so they send the tokens to the right place and so that they're receiving the tokens in return in a secure way. Again, you can Google and research and learn how to do that, but make sure you have a strong security plan in place. Next, marketing. Marketing for a token is ridiculously complex. It's more than marketing for almost anything I've ever seen. Marketing for a token is the following. First, it's your social media communities. Building a community in all of these channels we mentioned. Next, you want lots of PR. You want both mainstream PR, TechCrunch, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, crypto PR, all the different blogs that exist out there. Now, those may or may not be the same PR firm. There are some great PR firms that do both. You can do them independently. My recommendation is you need to have someone on your team that really understands PR. Because a lot of these, unlike in a public offering where you're not supposed to talk about it, in these, the function of a successful offering is correlated to how much successful PR you get. Next, you want to be showing up at events. You want to meet all of the insiders, all the whales are called, the big buyers, the trusted nodes. You get to know them by speaking and presenting at events. There's events all over the world all the time in the space. From a meetup to a conference, be everywhere you can be. Then you have other marketing channels, Facebook advertising, Google ads, display advertising, direct marketing, database marketing. There's lots of different ways to market to people. Design a really clear marketing plan that covers social media and also all the other forms of media that you can possibly imagine. It gets expensive, guys. It can get very expensive to market one of these deals. Next, sales. So, by the way, we're covering all the mechanics, and when we go back, we're going to go back through legal frameworks and cover that at the end, since legal frameworks is the trickiest part. But sales. Well, the way these sales happen is there's usually 2 stages to one of these ICOs, or token fundraising events, or token generation events. I know I keep repeating multiple terms, and that's because they're referred in the market by multiple names. So you should just get comfortable in how they're being described. So you usually have a pre-sale and a public sale. A pre-sale is people that gets in before it's publicly listed and available on an exchange. Pre-sales are usually sold at a discount. They're usually sold to larger buyers that are whales and crypto hedge funds. And they're usually sold to people that you're connected to. Typically speaking, in today's market, you want to pre-sell a good number of your tokens before the public sale. I don't know, best practices change, but I've seen anywhere from 30 to 70% sold in a pre-sale as the general best practice is what's been suggested prior to a public sale. And buyers come in, there's sometimes lockups on what they're buying, sometimes they're freely trading. Lockups mean you can't sell your tokens for a certain period of time after the public sale. And if you're investing in or buying tokens in a pre-sale, there's no guarantee the public sale ever happens. For the purpose of today, we're defining a public sale for when anybody can buy your tokens and when your tokens are being listed on at least one exchange. So, next, public sales are usually lots of smaller buyers. I have a friend that has 9,000 holders of his cryptocurrency. And he raised a total of about 20 million at the time, which is now probably worth about $40 million. But it was about 20 at the time, about from 9,000 people. That's a lot of small people to essentially buy their token. The marketing is different. So your marketing on the pre-sale is more relationship-based and PR. Your marketing on the public sale is more kind of like online community, social community marketing, and direct marketing. Now, I'm oversimplifying everything, just so you get a feel for what's involved. Next, exchanges. There's potentially hundreds of global crypto exchanges. There's probably 10 or 20 that really matter. You need to list on at least 1 or 2 exchanges. Ideally, you get listings on your exchanges in a couple of exchanges in every major market, the US and Korea, Japan, Russia, all the places where people have large markets of these, you want to list your coins. Because then they have trading value, where people can actually get dollars or Bitcoin or anything else for your tokens. And people like the ability to have a liquid token when they're buying one. So you want to make sure you have those relationships. The exchanges sometimes charge exchange listing fees. So there's a lot of expenses that go into this. Like team, you may have to pay people salaries. Materials, you may pay people for editing, creating, making videos and white papers. You may have a security person. Marketing, sales, exchanges. All these things are expensive. Now there's 2 more things that are important. You have your smart contract development or your technology and legal. Smart contract development is usually using something called Solidity. It's essentially a type of programming that you need to build your smart contract. Developers in this programming system charge a lot of money for this. So if you can get someone on your team, that's amazing. But I've seen token development through smart contracts be quoted as over and up to $1 million USD as of today in total between cash up front, part of the tokens, and cash out of proceeds to develop your smart contract. Then you need a smart contract auditor, which is another firm that comes in and audits the smart contract. I've seen that cost typically around $25,000 or so. Now, that's just your smart contract, because you need to make sure that people can't break your smart contract and screw your token economy. It's very important. Now let's talk about legal. I am not a lawyer. I provide no legal advice. So I'm simply going to give you a few questions to ask your attorneys. What jurisdiction should you be in? The US or Singapore, Switzerland, Malta, Gibraltar? Should you be a nonprofit foundation, a for-profit C Corp, or both? If so, how do they interact between one and the other, between nonprofit law, corporate law, different jurisdictions and regulations in each country you operate? All these things are important. What's the taxes that you need to be aware of? Are you paying taxes, sales tax on your token sale? Or are you using a tax deferral mechanism? Is the entity itself a nonprofit or a for-profit? All these things have interplay around tax structure, and there's a lot of complexity in it. I suggest finding a good estate attorney, a good tax attorney, a good accountant, and a good law firm that has experience doing these. And design your structure in conjunction with them. It's complicated and it's expensive. I've seen legal structures cost from anywhere from $150,000 to $750,000 in the last 2 or 3 months to do this. These things are expensive, or find a team member that can do all this themselves. So if we take it all together, these on the board are the stages of doing your own ICO. Token, what does it do and why? Team, why are you the right team to execute on this? Your materials, white paper, decks, and videos. Your security, your marketing plan, your sales plan both for pre-sale and public sale. How do you list on exchanges? And then your smart contract and your smart contract auditing and your legal framework. You put all of that together and you have what you need to complete a successful offering. So, good luck.